Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to Saints TV Weekly for May 9th, 2022. Off the back of a disappointing loss to Melbourne, 38 points. They defeated us at the MCG yesterday, Mother's Day, 14-9-93 to 8-7-55. They got 47 points up pretty early, and then from that point on we were chasing. We got within 22 points, but overall didn't really threaten the Dees. That drops us to 7th on the ladder now, which is a bit of a worry after having a big chance of climbing back into the top 4. And our percentage dropped about 10%, I think, based on that performance yesterday. So kind of bad news all round. No injuries to come from the game, I don't think. That's kind of the only positive. And also the fact that we did get to play the best team in the land, probably at their best so far this year, and at their most full strength lineup of the season, with a lot of players coming back from health and safety protocol during the week. So we got a glimpse of what it takes to be the best team and to be premiership favourites and to be a premiership team. And there's a bit of improvement to go, and I think that's the key takeout and the exciting thing is Melbourne are very, very good. Definitely a 5 to 6 goal better team in general against most teams in the competition. And that's kind of where we sit at the moment, but that doesn't mean we're not a bad team. It just means Melbourne are, a couple of goals ahead of us at the moment, and there's time for us to bridge that gap. So we've got Geelong coming up on Saturday, Arvo, another big game. We need to win that, because if we don't, there's a chance we could be out of the 8 by the end of next weekend, which would be ridiculous after being 5 straight wins, and then Port Adelaide come along and basically stuff us up. So my review is out on the channel. Obviously don't need to go into it too much in detail in Saints TV Weekly, so definitely recommend if you haven't watched it. It's quite a level review. I'm usually pretty hot-headed on the reviews, but I took my time and chose my words carefully, and I think if you watch it, you'll hopefully feel a little bit more optimistic after that performance compared to while you were watching it, because I know watching it was pretty difficult at times. But yeah, hopefully my review can help you, but it's on the channel at the moment, so click off this video afterwards and tune into my review. I've also got my player ratings for the game. Not many two standout type players. Yeah, it's Melbourne. They're good. And we move on. So fingers crossed we can get the chocolates on Saturday against the Cats. Speaking of getting the chocolates, Sandringham had another really good win. They played the Northern Bullets yesterday in pretty dodgy conditions, and they locked in a good 30-point win. And on top of the win itself, it was really good to see Hunter Clark made a really good return from injury, alongside best on ground performers in Jared Lynott, who I definitely think needs to come back into the lineup. Tom Campbell and Tom Heimel all had really, really solid performances. I think Jared Lynott was the standout. He had 31 disposals and 9 rebound 50s. So again, staking his claim to regain that position in the backline, which I think will be a huge benefit for us playing against a team like Geelong. And it suits our game style. And every time Lynott's played, we haven't lost. And every time he hasn't played, we've lost. So read into that what you will, but he's a good player, and I think he needs to come back into the lineup. Tom Heimel had 28 disposals and 9 marks in pretty dodgy conditions, as I said before. Jack Billings, 26 disposals, made another good... clocked in another good performance there. That's 2 in a row for him, so whether he's a chance to come in is up in the air, but I think he would be. Mitch Owens, 27 disposals, 9 clearances, 8 inside 50s, and Tom Campbell as well, 36 hitouts, 21 disposals, and 9 clearances. Obviously, we've got Paddy and Rowe back, so Tom Campbell probably unlikely to come back in at any point. But overall, I thought, looked like a pretty solid performance from some of the highlights I saw. I think there's definitely some players that are looking to come back in. Even someone like a Cooper Sharman, he only kicked the 2 goals, but I think just his lead-up style in our forward 50 creates a point of difference. And you saw yesterday against Melbourne, it was a bit easy just to defend our inside 50s, and we need to find other avenues to goal apart from Max King and Jack Higgins. And when they're not kicking goals, we're not kicking goals at all, and we're losing the game pretty comfortably. So we need to find a 3rd, 4th, 5th tall that can go down there and kick a couple, and Cooper Sharman's proven to be that. So I think him, along with someone like Billings and Tom Heimel with Lynott, could be really good ins and outs for the next week. but it's also a very good headache for the coaching staff. We did lose, but Sandy, again, I think are in the top 4 or top 5 now after that win and looking really good. And there's, 5 or 6 players that are playing for Sandy that are really staking their claim to push themselves back into the starting lineup for the St Kilda first, which is amazing to see and a good problem to have. Now into some trade news, which is surprising. It's only May, but these things circle around. And my good friend Tom Brown dropped a bomb last week, mentioning that Essendon are reportedly launching an ambitious play for out-of-contract St Kilda big man Rowan Marshall. Rowan Marshall is, I believe, out of contract at the end of the year, so it's a bit of a worry that he hasn't signed yet. But supposedly they're looking at an offer of around $750,000 for 4 or 5 years, which is a pretty big offer. And yeah, that's kind of, I guess, made a few Saints fans a bit uneasy, but I'm pretty confident that Rowe will re-sign. Tom Brown did say that Marshall is very happy at the club, and warned Essendon, would probably have to give up a lot to lure the 26-year-old away to Tullamarine. He's only played 71 games since arriving at the club in 2016. Off the back of that news, though, apparently, I don't know if this is linked at all, but supposedly we're looking at Rory Lobb, the forward ruck from Fremantle, and yeah, apparently he's sparked a little bit of interest from Moorabbin. He's 29 years old. He is contracted, I believe, but it's looking at a potential offer of 3-year deal at around $500,000. That to me is probably more in line with if Paddy Ryder retires and we get Rory Lobb with Rowan Marshall, which would be quite cool. And then Max Heath can come in the next couple of years. It's not going to be to replace Rowan Marshall, I don't think. We're not going to go for a 29-year-old when we've got Paddy Ryder at 34 and then Max Heath at 19, 20. So that doesn't make any sense for our player demographic point of view. But I think Rory Lobb's been in good form this year, but it's, I don't know if it's the type of player that we want. I think Tim English hasn't re-signed yet, but he's supposed to, but that's another player that we could look at. So yeah, Rory Lobb linked to St Kilda and Rowan Marshall linked to Essendon. So a couple of interesting ones there. No other trade news at the moment, but I think Rowan Marshall's probably the priority for us to get that done and really lock him down for the next 4 or 5 years. But it really depends on salary cap. I know we're gonna make some money in the off season with some players retiring and obviously being delisted and stuff. But at this point, Rowan Marshall's probably demanding a fair pay rise, and whether we can go with that at the moment or not is another question. Now for the questions this week. Let's go with Josh. Do we bounce back to win the next 3? We've got the Cats, I think then we've got Adelaide, and then who do we have after that? Do we have North? Let me just quickly check. It's a bit annoying that a lot of the top teams have played North and West Coast and we haven't. Yeah, so Cats, Crows in Adelaide, which I'm going to, and then North at Marvel again on a Sunday afternoon. We could definitely win the next 3. I don't think our form against Melbourne, even Port, I don't think it was as bad as what it looks. 2 losses, obviously, and that's bad, but we should have won the Port game, and Melbourne are just 5 or 6 goals better than everyone else, and we learned from that, and I hope we take a lot from what we saw against Melbourne into the Cats game, because I really think we can get the Cats. Minor is asking, 8 games in, are you happy with where we are on the ladder given everything? Absolutely. If you told me after 8 weeks we'd be 5 and 3, and in the top 8, potential chance for a top 4, if a couple of results go our way, yeah, I'd be absolutely very happy with that. But it is the easier part of the draw for us, is the first part of the year, so we can't afford to lose more games. We have to beat Geelong, and we have to really win the next 3, and then that takes us to 8 and 3 at the bye, and that's when we're absolutely flying. If we go the bye 7 and 4, that's okay, but I think we really want to go in 8 and 3 if we can. Ava's asking, does Billings come in next week and who comes out? Billings definitely should come in, I think, with maybe Tom Highmore and Lynett and these sort of guys. I think Dan Butler will definitely come out. He's injured, I believe. Winhager, I think, will be dropped. Maybe even Ryan Burns can come in. I think he was a sub. Oh, no, he wasn't the sub. Winhager was the sub. So there's a couple of options there, and I think Ben Long will have to move into the forward line with Dan Butler missing. I think Jimmy Webster's probably on the cuff of being dropped, or Paddo. They've both been pretty average the last couple of weeks, to be honest. Polt's asking, following the result, do you think we should have tagged Langdon? I think we should have done something. We just let him do whatever he wanted. He had 39. And they had 9 the week before against Hawthorn, so that was really our own fault. And the same with the midfield. We didn't go to tag Clayton Oliver or Petrarca. We didn't try to man up on May or Lever and make them accountable. We just kind of let them do whatever they wanted. And when you do that against Melbourne, you're going to lose. Can we beat Geelong? That's from Tom. Absolutely we can beat Geelong, mate. I think if we hadn't lost against Port and we still lost against Melbourne, I dare say we probably are favourites going into this game. Their form's not great. They have beaten up on some pretty average teams. GWS were in good form, but they're inconsistent, and Geelong are just a seasoned team, so it wasn't too surprising that they won that game. But the week before they did lose to Fremantle. They've lost to Hawthorn. You know, they've had a few average losses, so I think we can get them at Marvel, absolutely. Nice, short and sharp Saints TV Weekly, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Not the most positive week on the track in terms of news, you know, results-wise. Sandy got a win, but obviously the boys didn't get the win yesterday, and hopefully we can get some good players back from the VFL and go into the Cats game. And if we can win that, I dare say, you know, that really does kick off our season again. We've kind of put it on pause after the first 5 or 6 weeks where we won those 5 games in a row, but there's a chance for us to turn it around. And Geelong are one of our biggest bogey teams. If you told me we lose to Melbourne but we beat Geelong, I will absolutely take that. And I think the Melbourne game, we should review that very, very closely today and tomorrow, and then hit the track and really play our game style against Geelong. Don't worry about the opposition so much. That was our problem yesterday. We played into their hands. We focused on their strengths too much and forgot about our own. And you're never going to win a game if you don't focus on your strengths. So hopefully we do that on the track. Thanks again for watching, Sayoners. Obviously my review is out, player ratings are out, and the podcast will come out, I think, early this week. So stay tuned for that on all Spotify streams and Apple Podcast streams. It'll come out in the next couple of days. And then we'll preview the big Geelong game on Thursday, leading up to that on Saturday. I think it's a 4:30 game or Saturday twilight game. And then obviously after that, it'll be my live review. And player ratings and reaction to that as well. So enjoy the rest of your week, Sayoners. As I say in every video, if you enjoy this, please like it, comment your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you Sayoners think. It's not just about what I think or Marshy Joycey thinks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read all the comments, and it's very cool to see all the different angles from Saints supporters, from afar and from local. It's awesome to see all the interactions with you guys. And yeah, subscribe if you're a Sainer, and if you're not and you enjoy the content anyway. So I'll leave it there, Sainers. Take care, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you for the big Geelong game on the weekend. Go Sainers.